Hey gang, thanks for tuning in to my Appalachian Trail through hike announcement video. For those of you that aren't friends and family, my name's John Rooney, and a few years ago I retired from a career in management consulting where I was a partner with the professional services firm Deloitte, and the last 3 years I've been sort of easing my way into retirement, and have finally decided that it's time to bite off something a little bit more exciting than just playing golf. So I am attempting to through hike the Appalachian Trail, all 2,197.4 miles of it this year, and I'm going to give it a shot. So this video, I want to answer a couple questions that I get from almost everybody that I tell that I'm doing this. So I'm going to answer a few of those, tell you what's a little bit different about the way I'm doing the trail and how that impacts the content that's going to be on this YouTube channel, and hopefully you'll enjoy it, and it'll give me something to do while I'm out there on the trail. Truth be told, I figure the more people that know that I'm doing this and the more people that I tell and show that I'm doing this, the more pressure is on me to make sure I finish. So you're a part of the trip whether you know it or not, just by me hoping that you're watching it and keeping tabs on me. So thanks for that. So why am I doing this? Well, I spent a career in an organization with some really talented people, really smart people, in a pretty high performance, goal-oriented environment. And I loved it. I absolutely loved that part of the job, loved that part of my career, loved the people I worked with. And if I had to say there was something I miss since I retired a few years ago, it's the people, and it's the sort of the juice you get from that goal orientation and the performance orientation that we had as a culture. And what better way to challenge yourself than try to set out on something that not too many people complete every year. Usually somewhere in round numbers, 3,000 people try to do this every year, and round numbers, less than 1,000, around 1,000, finish it. So I like those odds, and I like the idea of pushing myself to do something that I've never done before. Another reason, maybe not a reason I'm doing it, but more of a motivation, inspiration, I would say, is I have 3 kids, all of them in their 20s, and each of them's an athlete in their own way. My daughter runs marathons. She just ran the New York Marathon this past fall, which was fantastic. My older son was a collegiate rower and just did a fantastic job with that. And my youngest son is a collegiate football player and is having a great time with that. And I watch how hard they work at their sport and what they're trying to do, and quite frankly, it's inspirational. It's motivating, and I want to try to keep up with the kids. Do something that I show them I can push myself to. And so I'm sure on long, hard slogs on big hills, I'll be thinking about the last couple miles of a race, or last 500 yards of 500 meters of a race, or the last quarter of a football game, and how they're sucking it up and pushing themselves, and I'm going to try to do the same. So first question I get from a lot of people, friends of mine. I had 2 lunches with a couple of people the past 2 weeks. One of my old colleagues, Lou, shout out to Lou, and one of my buddies from college at Penn State, shout out to Shrink. And first question I get is, where are you going to sleep? So for hikers who are watching this, this is everybody knows this, but for a lot of my friends who aren't hikers, you basically sleep in a couple of different spots. You're either sleeping in a shelter, so along the trail, there are, every 5 to 20 miles, there are wooden lean-to kind of shelters that have been built and maintained as part of the trail community. You can sleep in those, or you can set up a tent either around those shelters or at other parts along the trail that have spots that are sort of cleared out and flat for tenting. And then if you're not staying in a tent or staying in a shelter, when you're crossing a road, and it does cross a road pretty frequently, every 3, 4, 5 days, 6 days, you might be heading into town to do a resupply where you're going to get more food and stuff for you the next few days on the trail. A lot of times when you do that, you'll stay at a hostel, hiker hostel, or at a cheap hotel where you can, do your laundry, get a resupply, and sleep in a bed for a night rather than sleeping on the ground in your tent or in a shelter. The way I'm thinking about it, I'm probably going to be sleeping in shelters most of the time, hostels and hotels the second most amount of the time, and then in a pinch I'll use my tent if between shelters, or I just want a little bit more privacy than a shelter gives. We'll see how that goes. I have had a couple experiences in shelters where some people show up and it's not the easiest night of sleeping. So maybe my mind will change on that as I go. Second question I get a lot is, what do you eat? You don't eat very well, I'll say that. You eat a lot of not so great food because you're carrying stuff that's as light as it could be, but calorie rich. So if you're living large, you're eating stuff like this. Dehydrated, what is this? Beef pasta marinara. Peak Refuel is actually one of the, I'll say, higher end brands for dehydrated kinds of food. I like to eat these. I'll carry these with me, boil water, pour water in there, eat that. And this one here this was a big one. This is 1,040 calories. But a lot of times there's people that are just out there eating ramen, eating Knorr noodles, Knorr side dishes. For lunches, you'll make sandwiches with nut butter or peanut butter and tortillas, all kinds of things, but nothing that you would consider the least bit gourmet kind of food. And then when you get into town, you're generally trying to load up on calories, eating at restaurants or bars or at the hostel, and just plowing as many calories into your body as you can for the next 3, 4, 5 days on the trail, where you're probably going to be in a calorie deficit. So most guys lose pretty good amount of weight on trail. I think they typically lose more weight than women on the trail. I don't know why that is. It's something with physiology, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure I will lose weight as well, which is just a plus. Another question I get, maybe this is just the friends I have, but a lot of people have asked me, well, you're out in the woods by yourself. You're gonna carry a weapon, aren't you? And it surprises me, some of the people that ask me that question. But the answer is no, I am not carrying a weapon on the Appalachian Trail. I have carried on other backpacking trips I've done through other areas that are much more remote than the Appalachian Trail. And there are lots of hikers who probably do carry, and probably more than you know. I would be shocked if more than a very small percentage of Appalachian Trail through hikers would carry, because it's all about trying to maintain as low a weight as possible in your pack so that you aren't lugging a lot of weight. And if it's on your body or in your pack, it's heavy, you're carrying it, and it weighs you down. You really don't need it. There's the trail community is a really good community. It's a pretty safe adventure as adventures go. There's a lot more adventurous things you could do that are riskier than hiking the Appalachian Trail. So that's not going to happen. Other people ask me, so how do you get all your stuff around? So all your stuff goes in one of these. Everybody's got a different backpack. This is what you live with for the whole time on the trail. Your whole life is in this thing. You're wearing a pair of clothes to hike in. You got to change your clothes in here for camp. You have a couple layers that add on top of yourself when it's cold out. Usually a fleece, then a puffy, then some rain gear, and you got your bedding and stuff that goes in there as well. This is the tent that I'm going to be carrying. It's a Big Agnes tent. This is actually a 2-person tent. Just gives you a little bit more room to put your backpack and everything in the tent with you at night when you got to use it. But it's super light, pretty easy to carry, and won't probably get used a lot if my plans go as planned. So what's different about this hike than maybe the typical through hike? So a through hike is recognized by the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. That is the organization that is responsible for sort of the care and maintenance of the trail generally. There are local hiking clubs that actually do maintenance on the trail at different sections of it, but the organizing body, if you will, for this is the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, and they're the organization that recognizes through hikes. And to get recognized as a through hiker, you have to complete the entire length of the trail in one 12-month period. Some people will start down to Springer Mountain, Georgia, and they will hike all the way up to Katahdin, Maine. That's called northbound or NOBO. Some people will wait later in the year, start up in Katahdin, hike all the way down to Georgia. That's called southbound or SOBO. And then a lot of other people will kind of do hybrids, what's called flip-flopping. A lot of people like to start in the middle around Harper's Ferry, where the Appalachian Trail Conservancy is headquartered at, and they'll hike north. They'll start later in the spring, hike north, get to Katahdin, and then come back down, go to Harper's Ferry, and hike south down to Springer and finish kind of in the fall. That's one way to do a flip-flop. There's lots of different ways. Some people have to come off the trail for a couple of weeks because family situation, they get injured, things like that. What I'm doing, what I've already started doing, I've actually already started doing the trail. I've got 388.5 miles of the trail done. In mid-October, because I live in southeastern Pennsylvania, the trail is not too far from me. Over the last couple of years, I've hiked the entire trail in Pennsylvania on day trips and overnight trips and stuff. But I decided that what I would do this fall is cover as much of the trail as I could from middle of October until a couple of weeks ago in January. And so I basically hiked 25 days over the last 6 or 7 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe a little bit more. And I've covered from Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, all the way up to the middle of New York. So I have 25 days of hiking in. I have 25 days of videos that I'll start posting after this video posts. And then in a week, I'm heading down to Springer Mountain, Georgia, where I'll start the trail, and I'll be hiking straight through from Springer Mountain, Georgia to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia. I'll check in at the headquarters of the ATC where you get your picture taken, you fill out the logbook, and then I'm going to skip ahead up to the middle of New York where the Appalachian Market is, just north of Peekskill, New York, and pick up there and make my way up to Katahdin. So how that impacts the channel is the first videos will start dropping after this. I've got 25 videos. I'll probably drop 2 a day to get me through about the first week or into my time on the trail down south. That'll give me time to record videos every day, edit them, and probably batch them up and load them up when I stay at a hostel and I got faster Wi-Fi, and I can load them up, every 5 days or so from a hostel or a hotel, and then I'll schedule them so they drop 1 day at a time. And anybody who wants to follow along can follow along. It'll be an adventure. It has been already in the first 25 days. I had a couple of fun experiences, a couple of crazy experiences. Saw a bear, saw my first bear on the AT. Had a bad fall on my last day of those 25 days on the trail. You can see that in a video. Learned a lesson there, and hopefully it'll be something I'm sure it'll be something that I remember, and hopefully you guys will have some fun along the way. One thing I did learn my first 25 days of doing videos was that all of my videos, and you will see this, are shot in portrait mode, which I guess is great for TikTok or Instagram, but I'm not posting these to there. It's better to shoot in landscape mode for YouTube, and starting on day 26, I'll be doing that. And I've got a couple of other things I'm going to be adding into the videos now that I've seen what 25 days of trail footage looks like. I want to make it a little bit more interactive, maybe, or at least give you a sense of what I'm thinking about while I'm out on trail, or try to have a little fun with these now that I'm seriously doing them. I think when I first started doing some of the videos, the last 25 days of hiking, I never really thought for sure I was going to do this, and there's a few days where they're pretty short because I just got caught up in the hike and didn't really remember to video enough. but most of them are going to be 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not looking to kill you guys with a lot of time, nor do I want to spend that much time editing them. I just want to capture this for posterity's sake, for myself, and someday, you know, I'm hoping I will have grandchildren, and they can look back and see these videos and say, you know, wow, Grandpa used to do some pretty cool stuff. He wasn't just that guy sitting over there playing, doing crossword puzzles. So that's it. That's what I'm doing. I will launch the end of February 25th, my first day down in Springer. And if everything goes well and I average just over 15 miles a day, which I was able to do in my first 25 days, I should finish up sometime just after 4th of July, depending on how many days I take rest days during the hike, 0 days. So stay tuned, hit subscribe, hit like, hit the bell, all that stuff. And you have any comments or questions, or it's something you want me to answer, put it in the comments below, and I look forward to keeping you guys posted on how this thing goes. Thanks for tuning in.